Whams!
Sorry, Banshee.
So this week we listened to Act 3 of
Act 3, This
Protomen.
City Made Us?
The City Made Us by Protomen. And so this is something where...
You know how we talked about how that guy kept saying he hates goddesses? They say the phrase "this city" in this album
a lot.
Way more than that.
a lot. So,
and actually, to be fair, most of the Protomen songs I've heard prior to this do say "this city" constantly.
This is a reminder, comment whams right now. Comment whams.
Like,
on the stream,
subscribe,
on
share
this video.
the stream, comment whams.
Comment whams.
We are a new and
share,
budding
subscribe.
streaming show, and we would appreciate any support you can give to
We should
us.
have been doing this at the beginning of every segment, but anyway.
But we remembered this time, and that's what counts.
We remembered. So Protomen have been making music for quite some time. They're a bit underground. They're named after Proto Man from Mega Man. So in like the Mega Man lore, Proto Man is the prototype of Mega Man, but Proto Man was like corrupted and he like kind of turned evil. So like Dr. Light like gave up on Proto Man and like stopped producing him and then started producing Mega Man.
I'd never heard of the Protomen before I got with Beatrice, and I've heard probably all of their first 2 albums at this point. I've never really understood the story by listening to them, but B has explained it to me a lot, like a couple different times.
I have no idea what the story is, honestly, because I don't hear lyrics. I just don't hear them.
What kind of man would build a machine to kill a girl?
Yeah, I know that one because it's really, really plain and like there's no music happening at the time when he says that. But I assume really the story follows. Yeah. I assume the story follows something similar to Mega Man, where it's like Dr. Light is good and Dr. Wily is bad. Right?
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to explain the story?
You go ahead before we talk anymore. Explain the story.
I'll do a TLDR of the story. So the first album, which is just a self-titled Protomen, is Dr. Light has Mega Man, and he keeps telling him the story of Protomen.
He has a Death Note too, right?
God damn. Light Yagami.
What?
Dr. Light.
Dr. Light, yeah. So
Light
Dr.
Yagami
Light
is not a doctor.
Dr. Light has created Mega Man, and he keeps telling him the story of Proto Man every night before he goes to sleep. And Mega Man eventually becomes inspired by this story.
He told this guy the story every night before he went to sleep and expected him not to become like him? That's crazy.
Yeah, well, so basically the story of Proto Man is that he tried to save the city, but he failed.
He tried to save this city.
This city, she's been dead. Yes, so Dr. Light tried to save the city by creating Proto Man, but Proto Man failed because the people would not rise up. The people would not help Proto Man to take down the city.
Like they did in Alexander Hamilton.
Just stop interrupting me because it's going to take at least 5 minutes. So Proto Man tried to save the city. The humans wouldn't help him. He went evil. He teams up with Dr. Wily. Mega Man doesn't know this. He thinks Proto Man's dead. And so Mega Man tries to do the same thing Proto Man did, but again, the people kind of suck. And he ends up fighting Proto Man, and the people tell him, "You have to kill Proto Man. You have to kill your brother to save us." And he's like, he does, and then he's like, "Fuck all of you because you made me kill my brother. You people suck. I'm leaving." And then he just leaves. That's the end of the first album. Mega Man just leaves the city. He doesn't actually defeat Wily. He kills Proto Man and fucks off. But then
Wily doesn't have Proto Man anymore. So that's a huge bonus, right?
The second album is a
prequel
to the first album. So the second album is about before he created Proto Man, when Dr. Light and Dr. Wily just lived in this city where there was a mine, and my father worked the mines till the day he took his life. And his wife also works in the mines, and she works till her hands bleed. And so he wants to build these robots.
Sorry, Dr. Light talking?
Dr. Light, okay. Yeah. Dr. Light's got the deep voice.
Okay.
So Dr. Light wants to create an army of robots that will do the mining instead of the people. And Dr. Wily is
they craft as well?
They do craft. They mine, they craft, they do it all.
Crafting and mining.
And Dr. Wily is like, if you build these robots, we could run this city. We could just, nobody else is doing shit. We're the ones saving everybody by building these robots. Let's take over. Let's be in charge and
run this city. Yeah.
Light's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to save everybody. And so what Dr. Wily does is he builds a secret, super evil robot that he sends to kill Dr. Light's wife and then blame it on Dr. Light. That's what the Hounds is about. That's him telling everybody in the city, this man built a machine to kill his girlfriend. He's an evil man. So Dr. Wily tells everybody Dr. Light did this and he's evil. And Dr. Light is just so heartbroken over the fact that his technology killed his wife that he's just like shut down, basically. So he's on trial and he actually wins the trial. They find him not guilty, but he feels so guilty that he doesn't do anything for a long time. Then this guy named Joe shows up, and Joe is the song Breaking Out is all about Joe. And he's just like, this city doesn't know what's coming. She doesn't feel the heat. And Joe is this incredibly hot-blooded dude who finds Dr. Light and is like, I want to help you take down Wily. And they make a good go of it, but they lose and Joe dies. And then Dr. Light creates Protoman basically in the image of Joe. But Protoman, of course, we know, fails just like Joe did. And then, Mega Man's story. Act 3, I haven't completely read up on the story, but I'm pretty sure it takes place after both albums. I think there's a new girl who gets involved. And
who is voiced by the lead singer's wife.
I think she's the lead singer's wife, and she was also the voice of Dr. Light's wife on Act 2. But in this, I think she's playing a new character who is similarly to Joe or Mega Man, like a savior for the city. And I think on this album, Dr. Light kills Dr. Wily and destroys the whole city. That's what I think happens based on what I've listened. Okay.
Yeah.
Enough of me.
Okay. Trixie is a huge
lore
fan. I don't know anything about the lore. I'm sure Bird doesn't know anything about
and
the
I'll
fucking
point
lore.
out, if you read the lyric book, it goes through the whole story in detail. Like in between the lyrics, it describes like the literal what's happening story-wise.
Yeah.
I will never do that. But listening to this album, I got enough of the story to kind of understand what was happening in this album specifically. I will say, last week we covered The Mountain by Big Man. Come on. We covered The Mountain by Gorillaz, and my complaint with that was it all sucked and it all sounded like the same song. This album has the exact opposite problem, which is it was all incredible, but it still sounded like the same song. The fade-ins, like, I could not tell when a song was switching until I found out by clicking on my phone that it was switching, and it was great.
That's called a concept album.
True, they are both concept albums.
The Wall is my favorite concept album, and you can tell when they switch songs.
The Wall is very
But that's also
different.
from like the fucking 80s.
It's from the 70s.
The fucking 70s. They didn't know how to do it back then.
They
didn't know how to make it so you didn't
knew
know
what they were doing with
I'm not saying
Those
they didn't know what they were
Englishmen.
doing. I'm saying they didn't know how to make it so you couldn't tell.
I don't think so.
They did.
They did.
Whatever.
I
Whatever.
do think some amount of being able to tell you're going from one song to the next makes sense. But with this album, I give it a pass because there's not a significant difference in tone of what they're talking about. In The Wall, pretty much every song as you go through it, there is a very different sense of tone. You're going through a different part of his life. But with this, it's all the same story. It's a continuous story, which I appreciate as well. I think this does it very, very well. I really liked this album. I've only listened to it once, and I literally listened to it an hour before we started this stream.
I listened to it like 3 times this week.
This city made
Don't
us.
Stop it.
Fucking snake single.
Stop it.
She's very excited about this.
Yeah.
We're already fucking like 20 minutes into talking about this album, and we haven't gone
Less
over
than 5.
over 0.1. What is our score over
Have
10
you explained
out
the
of 10?
rubric? Do you want to explain the rubric?
I don't want to explain the
Okay.
rubric. It's off screen. What is our score? What do you give it out of 10?
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
I give it a 7.
Okay.
And so the way it feels to me overall is that it's very epic, and it's got a grand feeling to it. I like that. It feels like there was a bit too many transitions, like songs that were just transitions. And
there were like 3 or 4 of those that were just like 48-second transitions.
Where it'll be like just
that
like
might have been why it wasn't so disjointed for me, because they had those little intermissions.
There were so many songs where it's just like some sound effects happening and like some it's like
I will be honest
creating
though,
the tone.
in most other albums with shit like that, I can tell and I skip it immediately.
Yeah.
I couldn't with this, and so I was just listening to it, and it worked. It in terms of I think I can say this pretty confidently. It's the best album listening experience I've ever had. Like,
whoa, I mean that's big.
It is, but it's not a 10. It's just it all flows together really well. I'm not a big album listener.
Have you ever listened to Ayreon and any of their albums?
The Human Equation he's listened to with me in the car.
No, I've listened to all of their albums.
No, me.
No, him.
Oh, him. Okay.
Asked. You're drunk, aren't you?
A little bit.
I've listened to it with her in the car, but no, I haven't. What's the other one?
So the Human Equation is crazy with the transitions. That album flows together like no other.
Marilyn Manson also does some pretty good.
I don't give a fuck about Marilyn Manson.
I know, and every time I bring up Marilyn Manson, and it's not just you, I've done it a couple times this week at work. And people fucking like Marilyn Manson
at work.
Like, he's good.
He is very canceled, so
he's very canceled.
No, because his case got. You're right. Sorry, I don't want to defend Marilyn Manson about it. And I'm not going to, but I like his music still. And some of like there's I don't
Protomen.
Yeah,
Protomen.
There's some good transitions on Marilyn Manson albums. Okay,
that's the point I'm trying to make. All right.
Grumble.
We're talking about this fucking album here. So the reason I think I said 7, right?
Or 6. You said 8, actually.
I said 8.
Yeah.
You said 7.
I said 7. I'm pretty sure I said 7.
Did I say 8.5 and you said 7?
You said 8.
Sorry.
You said 8.5. I said 7.
I was jumping the gun.
The reason I said 7 is that they didn't do that much like interesting shit musically. Like, and that's something that matters to me as far as like music is concerned.
I think it was the most musically interesting Protomen album that I've heard.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that,
or at least the specialty music stuff they did with this appealed to me the most out of any Protomen.
I think like album wide maybe, but like song wide, no. Like each song feels like it was one idea that they stretched out to one song, and like didn't really do a whole lot with. And maybe because I'm more familiar just with Protomen, because I've listened to them for a while, like it just felt like Protomen. Like it didn't feel like anything new or interesting.
Sure.
It was kind of just standard shit that was like going throughout, and it's good. It's good standard shit. That's why I say it's a 7.
Yeah. This album
because it's good standard shit.
Decade? Like 3 of the songs came out literally
17 years.
Yeah,
17 years.
3 of the songs on this album literally came out 17 years ago.
It's good standard shit. It's like, you know, the drum beat that you might expect, the guitars that you might expect, it's the tuning that you might expect, it's the fucking mixing that you might expect, it's the fucking vocal mixing that you might expect.
I really
from
enjoyed
Protomen,
the woman on this.
Who did a good job.
I don't know who she is. She had a really incredible voice. I'm gonna like straight up with you because I'm not a big Protomen fan. In the first song, she leads, and as I was listening to it, I had to like take my headphones off and go, has there been a woman in Protomen before to me, or is this just like the guy doing a crazy voice?
Which would be really cool.
She was on Act 2, but she was not as good at singing back then. She's definitely improved.
What's the... this might have been a Riley thing. No, it is a you thing. The album where the guy is like dying from cancer.
You're thinking of the one Shade was talking about.
Ariane, is that the Deer Hunter? No.
It's not cancer, but he's dying.
He's dying in the hospital.
He's dying. He's
in a
going
coma.
through it all, and he goes through all the different emotions.
Yeah, that's the human equation. That's what we're talking about.
That is what this reminds me the most of.
That's just a concept album. That's just prog concept album.
Bird has not listened to a lot of concept albums.
So prog concept albums are like that, and I'm gonna be honest. Prog concept album. If you think about that, there are a few topics, right? There is comas, there is emotions, there is space, there is technology. That is prog.
Oh,
it is.
I was expecting to go into
No, it is comas. It is space. It is technology. It is whatever else I said.
Well, you forgot the most important point actually, which is
emotions.
This city.
And with Protomen, the city is very important, which I don't really know why. Hold on, Trixie, I'm putting you on screen. Why is the city so important?
Because they're from Nashville.
Yeah, they're from outside Nashville. That's probably the city they're really talking about. No, the city has just always been the main theme, is that Wily and Light were trying to save the city, but Wily took over the city instead. And so it's always been about this idea that the city is like under control and the people want to take it back. But yeah, they do say the phrase "this city" like 700 times on this album.
The city is very important to the idea of the album, and from what it seems, Protomen in general. And if we relate this to Mega Man, which is what this all like is coming out from, obviously Wily is the main bad guy of
Shout out Mega Man fans.
And Light is like the doctor that made Mega Man. Like they fight in the city a lot. It's like it's in a city that takes place, but Mega Man's story has nothing to fucking do with this. I've
had both these albums and most of the Mega Man games explained to me, and I still have no idea like what the fuck these have
Mega
to do with
Man
each other.
is about like a fucking future where there's robots, and Wily made some bad robots, and Light made some good robots.
Barely has a story.
And then like Wily made bad robots.
When it was being explained to me, I was like,
and then Light made good robots, and then
this isn't explained.
Light fucking made robots to fight Wily's bad robots.
What did N do to fight those robots?
Who?
N?
Who's
L?
N?
Sorry, L. Fuck
Who is
man.
L?
He's trying to make Death Note jokes.
Oh.
It is N, right?
But the joke with it's L and then N. The joke with Protomen is basically that like Mega Man has such a, like a sparse story that we could make it something way bigger and grandiose and epic,
Which is cool. It's cool that Protomen did that. This album,
it's like what they did with the
is
Star
kind
Wars
of basic.
Extended
is my take on it. Is that like musically it is very basic. It's like it's trying to set up like this cyberpunk atmosphere, which it does pretty well, but it's like exactly what I would expect from a cyberpunk atmosphere. And then like there's nothing going on musically that is that interesting.
There's less experimentation, I would definitely say.
There's no experimentation.
I don't view that as a bad thing.
I don't,
which is fine.
It's so because the only Protomen song I've really been able to listen to, and I have tried to listen to Act 2 because it's where my favorite songs of them come off of.
In the heart of the city.
They're fun. They're cool, but
that song is by far their best known.
What is that one? Is that the Hounds?
It's on Rock Band 3 or 4 or something like that.
Fuck, what's that song called?
The Hounds?
No, the one you were just singing. At the heart of the city, at the heart of the city, there is a building that looks down over all there
is The Hounds.
Light Up the Night. Light Up the Night is easily their most popular song.
Too.
It's on Rock Band.
I really enjoyed this album because it felt like they found the niche they've been trying to find. I get I want it to be more experimental. I want them to do more weird musical shit. But with this, the very slight amount of weird experimental stuff they did was largely saxophones. And I really enjoyed the use of saxophones in this album.
Okay.
I'll say their first album is much more indie rock, and like every song is very different from each other on the first album, but it's only 8 songs. Act 2 is like pure rock opera. It sounds like a musical. And then Act 3 is like if Heart and Iron Maiden and like all the 80s bands were the same band.
That's probably why it's my favorite one.
I'm going to go ahead and bring up. So the first song is like an introduction song. The second song is like a real song.
Yeah,
And
it
when
sounds just like Barracuda by heart.
When the song starts, I thought it was gonna go.
Hold back the night.
Do you know what band that is?
No, I don't know.
We come from the land of the ice and snow. It's Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, the fact that you didn't
Led
know that
Zeppelin.
is really
Led
funny.
Zeppelin is
But
Probably top 3 of my dad's favorite bands.
it would be.
Because it starts off with a.
It sounds like if Heart and Led Zeppelin made a song together.
Doing the through her headphones, and that was the funniest thing so far.
Yeah, so anyway, basically my opinion of it is that it wasn't that interesting, but it was also done well. So 7 out of 10.
I can't say I don't think it was that interesting.
The Thor movie song, yes.
It is in like all the Thor movies.
Yeah. Well, no, yes, anyway. I can't say I don't think it was that interesting. I really enjoyed... I can't even say I don't think it was that experimental, because I think for the Protomen, it's different from a lot of what they've put out so far. In the way they're doing their vocals, in the instruments they're using, because I can't tell you a Protoman song that has used a saxophone at this point. I think that's a new thing. And I could be wrong, and I'm welcome to be wrong.
I think you're right.
But this is a weird thing. I play the trombone, but in band...
When the fuck did you play the trombone?
Middle school and high school.
What?
I would love to buy a trombone and start playing it again. Not even joking.
Hey, do not play that shit in this fucking house.
No, I play it in the shed.
Okay.
No,
I do not want to hear some fucking trombone in the middle of the night. Or the day.
Why would he play in the middle of the
in
night?
the day even.
Well,
in the
actually,
day
no,
even.
he has a fair point. I would get shit-faced and start playing the trombone.
Yeah, it would be fucking 11 o'clock.
You're trumpeting right now, brother.
Yeah, trombone is
I
like
did this.
No, but the sound.
Okay, yeah.
Trombone is a bass instrument. You're still...
Is that too high?
So,
There you
yeah,
go.
that's closer.
Okay.
So you can make the first sound you made with a trombone, but it's a lot harder because you have to mess with your embouchure more.
Ever played that game? Never mind. We're
Trombone
getting too off
Hero?
topic. We're getting too
Anyway.
off topic.
What I'm saying, this album for me hit a lot of the notes of what I'm looking for in an album, which is to say it's incredibly performative. It has incredible instruments. The song, like the vocal quality, is off the charts.
Yes, I can agree with that.
And I just, like you said, it is almost just a tribute to like 80s bands.
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s heavy rock.
And I was dreading listening to it the whole time. And it's not because I thought it would be bad, because I really like to save good stuff to when I'm like on a big drive or something. And so when I listened to it, the whole time I was just like, yeah.
It kind of rocks. Like the whole time it rocks.
No, it rocks hard.
It rocks.
I would even say it fucks.
Yeah, I could say it fucks. It's 15 songs. I wish it was 11, but it rocks.
Yeah.
Well, it could be 11 if you just cut out all the.
In between.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In the incredibly.
If I actually hated the transition songs, which I usually do, I would agree with you. But I think it was fine. Like I could listen to this album.
It rocks. I can say it rocks.
I could listen to this album on a road trip and not know when I was like in a 30-second, 48-second little transition bit.
Yeah.
Because the 30-second, 48-second transition bits that do exist, they're good. They're not annoying. There's not someone just like saying a bunch of weird ethereal bullshit over that. It's literally just instrumentals.
Welcome to the album.
Exactly. Yes.
Welcome to the album.
It reminded me of.
are you talking like Nosferatu?
You must bounce on it. Crazy
Fuck me, that's a really good Nosferatu.
Avery May says you're selling her on the new album, and I would say listen to all three read the lyrics with it.
I like Protomen.
Don't do what they did and not read the lyrics.
7 out of 10 is a good rating.
If I really like something, I will listen to it over and over and over again and get as many of the lyrics as I can out of that. And then, if I still don't know what they're saying, I will read the lyrics.
Watch their MagFest performances on YouTube.
Before I go and piss, what would have made it a 10?
I will side with you a little bit and go just like one more instrument. One more,
just
maybe a horn, some kind of
Yeah.
horn, or a cello, or a bass, or something. Just one more little oomph to it.
something to just increase the intrigue a little bit musically. Like, obviously, if I was following the story, it would be like, oh, I'm reading the last chapter of the story. But as an album, I'm listening to it musically, and I don't. It's like, okay, it rocks, but like, you know,
Shade, actually, as
what
a
am I
baseline,
hearing?
what is your favorite album?
My favorite album is probably "To Pimp a Butterfly" by Kendrick.
I said she. Ari
Okay.
May is a guy. My apologies.
What?
I said she about Ari May. I forgot it's a dude.
Oh, well, anyway.
Oh.
To Pimp a Butterfly is your favorite. I probably don't have a favorite album, and the main reason for that is they switch constantly.
To Pimp a Butterfly is your favorite album?
I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
The closest I can have that is consistently my favorite is God, I don't remember. The Next Time We Wed by the Fratellis. It's that album. I don't remember what the album is called. Yeah. Anyway, I also have to piss. So B, it's you now.
Yeah, put me on screen and I'll talk while y'all are gone.
All right, PB time.
I understand what Shade means about thinking that Act 3 is less musically interesting by being less experimental, but I just think it's a lot tighter, like on a songwriting level, where like there's like 3 or 4 moments on this album where to me it just takes absolute liftoff in a way that Protomen never did before, because like the songs are longer on this one and they are more epic. Like Shade kept saying the album sounds epic, and like there are moments of epic on Act 2, but it never was like a total musical surge to me. And like I'm thinking about my favorite moments in This City Made Us, where it just feels like I'm floating through the fucking clouds. Like, and Protomen never reached that before. Like they have very memorable bits in all of their albums, but this one is the first one where like experientially I feel like the music is taking me on a whole journey. So I definitely felt stronger about it than Shade did on the musical level. But like he was saying that he didn't think it was like as technical, and I think if you're thinking of technicality as how much variety of things are being done, I would agree it has less variety. But in terms of like writing a more difficult song to actually write and perform, I think this album is above their first two, actually by a lot. Like their first album is very simple, very straightforward, almost punk rock like level musicianship, whereas this is like advanced, you know. Iron Maiden and Heart are two of the most advanced heavy rock bands, so like being able to evoke that is very advanced. Granted, it does still feel like nostalgia music. It does feel throwback. And I'll mention that Protomen, in the 17 fucking years between Act 2 and 3, released a live Queen cover album and another like 80s rock cover album. They have a lot of 80s rock covers, you know, No Easy Way Out from Rocky IV, which their version is amazing. So they are in many ways a throwback band. They are meant to sound like, I mean, Mega Man is an 80s video game, you know, like there were like 6 Mega Man games before I was born. So like Protomen are old dudes making old reference, you know, media. I also want to mention that they are the biggest nerdcore band of all time.
Well, they call it, what do they call it? Nintendo Core?
Sure, yeah, Nintendo Core, Nerdcore.
Music about like video games.
Yeah, they headline MagFest all the time, which is the biggest music and games festival, as what it stands for. Shade, you didn't mention that you've seen Protomen live.
I did not.
You've only been to like 5 shows in your life, and you saw one of them was Protomen.
I'll bring up the music.
Amazing live show.
Wait. This right here.
This
I'll
city?
say, because we have 2 things to say. First, yes,
you gotta put your hands on your.
Shut the fuck up. First, I have seen Protomen live. They played in Baltimore at the same time that we went to Otakon. And so we went ahead and saw them live. They were playing in like an arcade, and what I remember of this concert was that there was free arcade games, and so I was playing them, and more than I was listening to the music. So I was playing I think it's called Primal Rage.
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
fighting game with like dinosaurs, where you like
based on the Gendy Tartakovsky thing, right?
you play dinosaurs that fight each other, and then like there's like the health bars are at the top, and then there's like hearts at the ends of the health bars, and when the health bar ends, the heart like explodes. It's brutal.
Yeah.
But that's what I was doing while listening to Protomen live.
Basically Mortal Kombat with dinosaurs.
Yeah. So I saw them live, and then the other thing that we have to mention before the music segment ends is what we are listening to next week.
Oh yeah, Thundercat. Thundercat just put out a new album. I want y'all to check it out. It's called Distracted.
Distracted. He's the guy that went doo-doo-ding, doo-doo-ding.
As it happens, he plays bass and produces on most of your favorite album.
Yeah, Thundercat is really good.
Thundercat is heavily involved in To Pimp a Butterfly to such an extent that when I first listened to Thundercat, I was like, "Oh, this is just what To Pimp a Butterfly is. It's just Thundercat."
Thundercat is really good. I'm excited to listen to this new Thundercat album. I've not listened to any of it.
But does he have a bone to pick?
It's about being ADHD generally, so you'll relate.
So